Okay, when you say some of these matters have been moved from the economic sphere to the political space, and then the school of thought that says Labour not doing enough to challenge those in authorities by providing documents to show why some of these wages are payable, contrary to what some state governors tell you that no, I can't pay. If federal government can pay, we in the state cannot pay.
They cannot say so, because a governor in Kogi State earns the same salary with the governor in Lagos State, and we know that the volume of job they have to do is not the same. So when it comes to governor's pay, why should it tally with that of those who are from oil producing states? Why should a governor from a non-oil producing state earn as much as a governor from an oil producing state?
Is Labour doing enough to challenge us, publish or make those documents available? Because they have Labour workers in all of those states.
They have workers in all the states. Now, but when it comes to negotiations, what do you bring on the table that matters?
That negotiation is the problem, because you have the weakness created by the factions in the NLC, and then perhaps that has given strength to the government.
The government is taking advantage of it. It does not give them strength. Let them convene the meeting, and you'll find out that the Labour is not weak, even if they are in 4 factions. Before the NLC and before this faction, we used to have 4 Labour centers. The 4 Labour centers negotiate on national issues. It's not a problem. They take a leave, they take a break for 5 minutes, and they decide how much they can get away from the table with. It's not the problem. They are taking advantage of it and playing one faction against the other.
So Labour should act now?
They should act now.
Okay, we'll take a look at some more in terms of what they need to do when they need to act when we return. Join us again. It's our concluding moments now. What should Labour be doing now?
I think that Labour should come together and call off the bluff of the government about division on the Labour, in the central Labour organizations. Before the Trade Union Act, we had 4 Labour centers, and we always have what we call Joint Action Committee when an issue cuts across all the interests involved. Then those Labour centers were ideologically based. Some are pro-Russia, some are pro-US, some are pro, so whatever they are. When an issue comes that cuts across, they form a Joint Action Committee. So nothing stops the ULC, the NLC, the TUC to form a Joint Action Committee on national minimum wage and go ahead and meet the government.
Where lies the problem when you're looking at the public sector unions? Are they able to get the government to meet up with their demands? I mean, considering that the government are their employers.
Now, if you look at the way the negotiating councils in Nigerian Labour Movement, the private sector's unions are able to review their wages after every 2 years or 3 years at most. So even as we talk as minimum wage at 18,000 naira, there's no private sector worker who is in a trade union that earns 18,000 naira a month. They've gone far beyond that through their internal negotiations. But public sector unions don't have this 2-year negotiation period or 3 years negotiation period. So anybody who is on minimum wage of 18,000, okay, probably is running the scales and so on. But any new entry will be on that 18,000 until the next one is negotiated. That gives the private sector unions a lot more strength because they have these negotiating platforms. The public sector don't have, they do have it, but they don't actually utilize it. They depend mostly on the NLC, which is the reason why public sector unions want to be the president of the NLC at all times.
Okay, because I mean, when you say government can pay this minimum wage, different states can pay, are you taking into cognizance the revenue of those states?
Yeah, if we are looking at the compensation package for all the people in the states, they're earning higher than their state income. The government can pay, but you know, you can't eat your cake and have it. Most of the governments employ people not necessarily because they have a job. They employ people into even non-existing jobs, and also have their ghost worker syndrome and all that. So the wage bill is big. But if a government decides that they can pay, they can read the payroll of ghost workers.
Okay.
You can restructure salaries. There's no reason why a state governor cannot take a salary cut. Reasonable salary cut.
We appreciate your comment on. Elder Linus Ukamba is a former member, Industrial Arbitration
and the security votes.
Okay, as former head NLC Lagos office, that's a very important one he touched there. But before we wrap up, let's take a look at these comments coming through. Well, Philemon writing in from Abia State says, it's very cheering hearing the Vice President reel out strides in the agri sector. He's particularly pleased, that's Philemon, he can recall that the rice revolution began under the previous government, and it's very commendable that the PNB government has taken it a notch higher. And according to the finance minister, government is a continuum. But it says, let me say that no matter the strides at the federal level, insofar as federating states are not keyed in, it will never trickle down to the ordinary Nigerians. He says, well, yes, I'm 53. And I have governments, I've witnessed governments do fantastic things with data, but it still questions, why are we where we are today?
We also have another one from Chinedu Osamo from Delta State. He says, dear Sunrise, I think it's very insulting to Nigerians for the Minister of Labour to say that the May Day rally was infiltrated by those who disrupted it. We are hungry, in parentheses, as stated by one of the interviewees, ought to be the message the minister takes home, and not to spin conspiracy theory tales.
All right, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Osal.
Thanks for watching. I'm Gimba Umar.